John Jay doesn't get the spotlight in the story of America's founding. He didn't lead armies like Washington, and he didn't craft constitutions like Madison, and he didn't stir crowds like Patrick Henry. But Jay was something just as essential. He was a diplomat, a statesman, and the man who gave America its judiciary. He was the voice of calm in a revolution of fire. A negotiator who secured peace when war ended, and the first Chief Justice of the United States, the one who set the precedent for what the Supreme Court could even be. If the revolution was born with muskets and speeches, Jay helped win it with patience, persuasion, and a quiet power of law. And that's why history remembers John Jay as the first Chief Justice. Welcome to our republic.
When in the course of human events it becomes necessary for one people to dissolve the political bands which have...
Sailors and airmen of the Allied Expeditionary Force.
Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers. Not one small step for man.
Those three hallowed words reverently dictate what you ought to be, what you can be, what you will be.
We pledge to each other our lives, our fortunes, and our sacred honor.
John Jay was born in 1745 in New York to a wealthy family of merchants. Unlike many founders who came from modest means, Jay grew up in privilege. But with privilege came education, and Jay took full advantage. He studied at King's College, again today's Columbia University, where he trained in law. By his early 20s, he was already a practicing respected attorney in New York. Calm, logical, and persuasive, Jay made his mark not through fiery speeches, but through steady reason. And when tensions with Britain rose, Jay was the first who leaned forward to moderation. He hoped reconciliation could preserve colonial rights without breaking free from the crown. But as Britain cracked down harder, Jay shifted. By 1774, he was a delegate to the First Continental Congress, where his measured voice helped shape petitions and plans. At the Second Continental Congress, Jay was the balance between the radicals and the moderates. He wasn't a loud voice for independence, but when it became inevitable, he supported the cause fully. Jay's greatest intellectual contributions came in 1787 and 1788, when he joined Alexander Hamilton and James Madison to write the Federalist Papers. Jay wrote 5 of the essays focusing on foreign affairs and the need for a strong national government to protect America's place in the world. The illness prevented him from writing more, but his contributions carried weight. His essays emphasized unity, security, and the dangers of weakness in a hostile world. Jay's calm nature and sharp mind made him a natural diplomat. During the Revolution, he was sent to Spain to seek support, and then to Paris to help negotiate the peace treaty when the war ended. At the Treaty of Paris in 1783, Jay joined Benjamin Franklin and John Adams at the negotiation table. He insisted that Britain recognized full American independence and secured favorable terms that shocked Europe. Without Jay's determination, the peace might have been far less favorable for our young republic. Now, in 1789, George Washington appointed John Jay as the nation's first Chief Justice. The Supreme Court was brand new, no cases, no tradition, no precedent. Jay's job was to shape it into a functioning branch of the government. And under Jay, the court established its independence and authority. He presided over early cases that defined federal power and demonstrated that the judiciary would stand as an equal branch alongside Congress and the presidency. Even while serving as Chief Justice, Jay was called back into diplomacy. And in 1794, with Britain and America once again on the brink of war, Washington sent him to London to negotiate. The result was the Jay Treaty. The treaty was controversial. It resolved some issues like British withdrawal from the forts in the Northwest, but critics thought Jay gave away too much. And in America, angry crowds burned Jay in effigy. But Washington defended him, and the treaty ultimately kept the fragile republic out of another devastating war. Jay eventually resigned from the court and returned to New York in politics. He served as governor of New York, where he worked to abolish slavery gradually, passing a law that freed future generations born into bondage. And after years of public service, Jay retired in 1801. He lived quietly at his Bedford estate until his death in 1829. He outlived most of the other founders, watching the nation he helped grow far beyond its fragile beginnings. John Jay, known as the first Chief Justice. He was a negotiator, the steady hand, a man who didn't need fire to make history. He gave America peace abroad, stability at home, and judiciary that would stand the test of time. I know we've talked about these guys so much before in the previous episodes at the beginning when we talked about the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution. So I know these are short. These are really brief. Please go watch those. Please go watch the ones that the White House is doing again with the AI. They're incredible. Other sources, Dave Barton, Rick Green, all incredible. Wall Builders, the American Journey Experience with Glenn Beck. Please just go check out these resources. They are absolutely invaluable. I wish I could spend more time in these places. I mean, even places, we have a place here called the Great Republic. It's a store, and it has all kinds of historical artifacts from things from Eisenhower all the way back to the founding fathers. It's just a great place to go and even look at history. I really appreciate you taking the time to listen. And remember, history isn't boring. It's the story of steadfast voices that build nations just as surely as the loud ones. I will see you next time.